My name is Stephen Thomas Evison, but for the past 15 years, people have called me Coach.
When I first joined Golden Valley as a varsity head coach, there was a new change in the girls program as well. And I've got to know a new head coach just from afar, just from kind of being co-workers and from being at the high school. And then I kind of grew into this kind of good friendship, kind of co-worker colleague relationship. And as I grew, he grew. And he has since left Golden Valley and now coaches at Saugus High School. And he is the one that kind of led the conversations to me joining LAFC and getting into the club on a bigger spectrum. So, big thank you to our next guest, which is Kai English. Kai, how long have people been calling you coach?
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me on. First off, very cool that you're doing this. I've listened to a lot of podcasts, so it's gonna be interesting to be on. So hopefully it's interesting to listen to. But yeah, I've been coaching for almost like 8 years now. I started coaching just as an assistant coach at what it used to be Real SoCal. Obviously, that turned into LAFC SoCal, and now we've switched over to LASC. So I've been with the same club, even though we've been, through a few name changes. But yeah, I've been coaching since 2017. Started off as an assistant coach with Sergio, who I think you had on the podcast as well.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, just jumped in. I didn't think it would be really a career move. It started just, as a summer job and I'm sure like probably you and others have had, you kind of fall in love with it. So that's why I'm still here doing it today.
It's crazy that we can call it a career. I mean, I'm still blown away that, this is my job. I get to do this and then I get to start things like this podcast. It's incredible. But are you coming from a soccer black background? Did you play yourself at a high level?
Not really a high level. I played since I was a little kid. So I think we just realized pretty recently. So we have a similar background. My parents are from England as well.
Hmm.
So my dad's huge soccer football fan. Big Arsenal fan. So I grew up with the game, been playing since, like 4 years old, and moved to Santa Clarita around like 6 years old, and pretty quickly joined a club team back then. Another name change. We used to be Santa Clarita Magic, so that was
CV
the
Magic. Yeah, that's
yeah, that
right.
was the original. So I played for Magic. I played for Coach Lalo, if anyone remembers him, and then also Coach AJ for a little bit. I know he's still coaching over in Utah. So I played for Magic and Real SoCal, but just kind of got burnt out playing the game, some injuries too, but around high school started playing basketball as well, kind of
Mm.
moved towards that. And yeah, didn't go super far with the playing career. Still try to play, indoor and keep playing because I enjoy it, but didn't play in college or at any advanced level. So, when I was 17 years old, that's why I've been coaching so long and I'm still decently young because I started coaching at 17 years old rather than, still playing.
What was the pull to coaching? Was it just your experiences with your coaches, or was it like it fell in your lap?
Yeah, it kind of just fell on my lap. So I knew Sergio, obviously, because I played for his club. I never played for him. He always tried to get me on his team, but I always played on a different team. I was 1 year younger than his. He had a 98 team and I'm a 99. So
Mm.
I knew Sergio already and I knew really close family friend Dan Palmer. He doesn't coach anymore, but he used to coach at probably, well, it was Real SoCal back then. So, just looking for a little job before I went off to college, to get some money. And he was like, "Hey, well, you know the game." He's also Arsenal fan, so we'd watch games together, stuff like that. And he's like, "Hey, come out and an assistant coach for a little bit." And that was the plan. It was supposed to be like, 3, 4 months, assistant coach, help out, earn some money, go off to college, be done with it, and then go into whatever career followed from then. Thankfully, Sergio, when I told Sergio like, hey, I'm going to Fullerton, it's like an hour 15 away, like I don't think I'll be able to do this anymore. He convinced me to kind of stick with it. I came like once a week, once every 2 weeks, just to help out a little bit while I was in school, and eventually just started really loving it, and just started coming twice a week, making the commute, and then yeah, just grew from there.
It's crazy what we did in our early careers for coaching. I mean, I spent so many years in the AYSO system, and I look back on it now, and I was like, as good of of an organization as AYSO is, I mean, it's all volunteer. I mean, I would never, I can't do that now, but the things that we used to do, like drive an hour and 15 minutes to come back to do trainings or games or whatever you did, but it's incredible the what we did early just because of the hook. And I don't know what it is. I still can't figure it out. I mean, I love coaching to this day, but the original hook just it's something that every coach goes through, especially one that makes a career out of it. So you started kind of coaching, kind of coming back and forth while you're in college, and then when did the pivot happen when you're like, you know what, this is starting to be a career?
Yeah, so yeah, like you said, I got hooked in. I think I mean there's many reasons I like it, but I think one of the big reasons is just those relationships you build with the players, like you get so close to them. My first two teams I helped out with were the '04 and '05 girls.
Hmm.
And just great groups, really talented groups actually, and great girls. So probably 2 years into like assisting, I kind of was like, hey, this could be something that I enjoy doing. I was already, like kind of a more majority way into a business degree, so I didn't really want to just, drop that. So I decided to add a minor in kinesiology at Fullerton because that sort of has some coaching and exercise courses that would be a little relatable.
Sure.
And then it was kind of around COVID or just before COVID where, I wanted to get into it more. So my first actual experience with high school, I think it was 2019 or 2020. No, it had to be 2018 actually. Around that time, I started coaching. I was the frosh coach at heart with Coach G.
Mm.
Um, I worked with Sergio for a few years and then he stopped coaching to focus on his director role. So then I became an assistant with the same teams, the '04 girls, they went to Coach G. And then the '05 girls went with Luti, so I helped those two guys out. And that was, Sergio, I learned a lot from Sergio, but really learned a lot from those guys. That's when I started, to really enjoy it. They gave me a little more responsibility and learned a lot. And so, yeah, in around 18, 19, I coached a Hart Frosh team, and that was really enjoyable. Kind of the first team that I had that, was an assistant. It was my team and had a lot of fun with that. So around that time, I wanted to get into it more, started doing more at the club, like helping out, cover coaches a lot more, cover practices. Um,
Just grind,
Whenever
right? Like,
coaches were out, yeah, just jump in, get more involved. Then obviously like 2019, whenever that was, or to 2020, COVID happened, so that was kind of a crazy time. We're coaching over Zoom or we're doing kind of weird individual practices. It was just a weird time, and that's also around the time I got the Golden Valley job,
yep.
kind of 2020 spring, but didn't really start that job for months because of COVID. And so yeah, so probably around that time, around 2020 is when, I started coaching my own teams at club too. Got my first teams in the 2010 and 2012 girls, and the 12 girls, which I still have now, and the Golden Valley team. So that's probably, I know this is a really long answer, but probably when I decided, hey, like let's try to do this more than just,
Sure.
part-time thing.
Sure. That I oftentimes think about that COVID year, the first year, and I still can't believe the amount of games that we did. If you remember, we were doing 2 games a week for high school, and then we would do 2 games for on the weekend for club. It got to a point where we were doing more games than we were training sessions, and
Yeah, that
it was such a burnout, and it was all compact. I think it was in like late April, early May,
yeah.
and it was a lot, man. But yeah, so oh man, now I'm a little bit jealous. I never knew that you got to work under G. I really started kind of getting a relationship with because he had the 2010 boys and I had the 2010 Flight 3 team. He had the Flight 1 team. And we were starting to talk a little bit and then he left. But just really quickly, what's the kind of coaching philosophy that he has that you picked up most from G?
Yeah, G is I mean anybody that's played for him, he's super intense guy. He's very committed, he's very knowledgeable. Like obviously he's Brazilian. He played, at college level, played at a good kind of semi-pro level. But obviously picked up a lot of practices. His style of play, kind of matched up with mine or, the club in general. Same with Luti, like, play from the back, ball on the ground, play possession, play very attacking. But a lot of stuff I got from G was just, the commitment, the drive. He would, you know, he softened up a bit, but he would really get into players, push them as like, as much as he could. And yeah, he still is super intense,
Hmm.
really dedicated, really committed. Um, and the thing that helped with G is like so obviously all this thing's super committed, but G has like if you met him, she has like 10 jobs of coaching. Like he's all over the place, which is
That's
obviously is good.
incredible.
I mean, we all do, but that kind of helped me because it led to me like covering him a little bit more because like he had three teams in high school and college and this and that. So it's like you're stretched that thin, you need an assistant. And that was one thing that I didn't get from Sergio too often, just because Sergio was very organized and he ran the club so he could make sure he was there for pretty much everything. So I didn't get that, individual coaching for myself as much. But with G, it was like, okay, I had to cover a practice because he's elsewhere. I had to cover a game because he's with another team. So that helped me, start to step in and learn that okay, I gotta actually run it by myself rather than just, helping out wherever I can. But yeah, I really learned a lot from G. Still super close with G. Try to talk to him, every few weeks. But yeah, he's a great guy.
Mm. And you still work with Ludi, right? Because you're doing the Blue Heat with him.
Yes, yeah. So Luthi also has, helped me a lot. Probably my biggest mentor and still one of my, closest friends, coaching and, off the field. Talk to him probably once a week. Try to, I know he's at our, competitor or whatever, but he's at
Hmm.
another club now. But I still, try to stop by there. He stopped by, what was it, Wednesday, just to say what's up.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're still super close. And yeah, we work together at Blue Heat. That's another really cool opportunity I got from him. So he's been the head coach for a number of years since I think it was 2017 or 2018. And once I started working with him at club as an assistant, he invited me, I think it was 2020, to be an assistant with Blue Heat. And yeah, that's such a cool experience. Working with really high level girls players. I mean, D1 players, there's 10 to 20 girls right now that we've coached, not that we've influenced that much, but that are now professional, just getting to work, with
Wow.
that environment, with the Alyssa Thompsons, Giselle. There's a number of players that are, national team players or NWSL players. So that is one of the highlights of the year when we get to work, kind of April to July with those high level players. It's really fun.
Mm, I'm sure it's like one of the most rewarding. So to get there, you have to get a certain licensing. I know that right now we're both have our C license, which I think we've talked a little bit about before. For me, my C license was probably the best coaching experience that I've ever had. It was so knowledgeable, so rewarding. I don't know if you can kind of say the same thing, but you're in your B license now. What are you thinking about your B license?
Yeah, so to work at this level, you need to have a B license. I had to get a waiver this past season for Blue Heat to say like, oh, I'm taking it this year, so they would allow me to still be on the sidelines.
Really?
Yeah, so that was actually a new thing this year because we're in a different league, so we're in the USL.
Mm.
So yeah, they're a little more organized, and yeah, they make sure all the coaches are licensed. So yeah, I had to get a waiver and say, yeah, I'm doing this. But yeah, the B license, it's been really good so far. It's challenging, it's a lot of work, and it really, challenges you to think about, everything about practices, about games, about individual players, probably more than I ever have. Um, which, it's a lot, but it's good. Like, the instructors that we have are really, really good. You can go, you put a practice, and then they're like, you think it's the best practice in the world. Oh, I set this up, and they're like, okay, well, why this? And you're like, oh, I never really thought about that, or, why have an overload for the attacking team when that doesn't happen? And you're just like, oh, I don't know. That's just the way you do it. So it challenges you to think, challenges you to get better, and yeah, it's been good so far. I've passed all the assignments. I go again next week to Arizona to Casa Grande for our second in-person meeting, and yeah, hopefully it keeps going well. But yeah, it's been my C was good. It was around the COVID time, so it was kind of virtual. We did a little in person, but it wasn't the kind of the same level as this. And I think the C, from talking to you and talking to other coaches at our club that are doing the C, it's a lot different now than when
Mm,
I did it. But so far the B license, yeah, it's really, really good. I would recommend it to anybody that has their C if you want to grow and be challenged and try to take, I mean, not that it's take that next step, but get better as a coach. It's really good.
yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things that I learned the most from the C license, and it sounds like you're going a little bit through this right now, is you have to be open to criticism. You have to be able to kind of what you just said. A coach is like, "Why are you thinking this way?" And you kind of just have to be like, "I have no idea." And I went into my C license thinking that I knew everything and I'm good. Like this is going to be easy, and it was the complete opposite. And ever since then, I've really understood that I'm just a student of the game and I'm just here to learn and I'm trying to get as much information from people that have more knowledge than me, that are instructors and that have been in the game a lot longer. And I think once I embrace that role and that kind of thinking, it's really changed my coaching style. And I'm always here to kind of get critiqued and I'm always here to get better because if I get better, I can coach teams better, I can get players better, and I can push people to higher levels. So I have my C license right now. I have to have it for 2 years, but I'm definitely going to take my B license. So, best of luck when you go to Arizona for those in-persons. It's probably the best the best time to kind of just be involved in your career. So that's awesome, man. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about our club, LASC. You are yeah, you and Coach Eddie are kind of the front coaches for our girls program. Let's just talk about your girls 2012 team. So you've had this team for how many years now?
Yeah, this is going on, I think 5 years with the same team. I think
Wow.
there's only one survivor, that's been on the team. But she joined kind of halfway through the first year, but it just the first few years it was difficult. So back when I started the team, we had at that point our girl side was a lot stronger than it is now. But the 2012 age group, we didn't really have a team. We had like two 2011 teams, and the second 2011 team was like mixed up with 2012s.
Mm.
So basically, when I started this team, it was brand new, like getting a lot of girls. So the first year or two was very difficult. It was trying to recruit players, trying to keep players, players that, were pretty good level for the team. We're like, okay, well, the rest of them aren't at this level. And as a coach, I'm like, yeah, that's true. So they ended up, moving on. There's some girls that were on this team that are playing, ECNL level at Blues or LAFC in Woodland Hills. So, they've done really well. And I hope, I helped them for the little time I had them. But the first few years were challenging. And then finally, probably 3 years ago, we got a settled group, a good 7, 8 girls that are still around now. We've been adding every year, and they're doing well. So we're flight one this year. We've
Ooh.
been we've been doing pretty good in league. We started really well. We were, up at second place. At one point, we've had a tie and a loss in our last few games. So we're kind of hanging around third place, but that team's doing well. It's a good group. The girls work very hard. It's a good group of parents that are very supportive, that understand kind of the process of the development. Don't try to get, overly involved, overly coach, and trust me, which is I think one of the most difficult things of working with club teams, is just finding those good group of people.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, really good group and just hoping that we keep developing, the girls keep having fun, and hopefully, we have one more game this weekend, and then we go into which they're not in high school yet, so we'll still keep working hard in these winter months.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a fun group to work with.
Yeah, I have 2013 boys, the 2012, so your second year 11v11 really starting to figure it out, but you're starting to set them up for their high school and their futures. And as you said, some girls left to play bigger clubs, but the ones that stay, you kind of hope that the team grows, and it seems like you're on the right path with that. So but you also have a couple of the youngins, man. I do not know how you do it. There's oftentimes I think about, you know, when they're 6 years old or so. Could I take a team, maybe 8 year olds? And I just kind of scratch my head and I'm just like, I need a lot older. I need a little bit more developed. But you are also doing the 2018 and 2017 girls teams. How's that going?
Yeah, it's really good. It is a different challenge, obviously, than working with, 2012s or high school ages or, whatever ages. You can't be the same way. You can't be, screaming and yelling at them like, it
Sure you can.
well, like I mean, I yell at them a lot, but it's more to just make sure they're focused and they're actually aware that there's a game going on. But when I first started with the 2017s last year, it was a different challenge. I had the 12s when they were pretty young, like 8, 9 years old. But the 17s last year were like 7 years old, some of them 6 years old. So it was like first step into club. And I had come from like I had a '08 team the last year and a 2010 team in 2012. So like almost all three teams were gonna be, 11v11. And then, it worked out that got moved to the 17s and it was like, okay, kind of back to the start, 7v7, back to little kids, tying shoes and teaching the game. But so it can be frustrating, but it is very rewarding. You do see a lot of development very quickly. Um, that once they get the basics, they start to jump up really fast. And I think it is something that I do enjoy. Obviously, in the future I do want to coach at a decently high level, but it is good. I think I've found a kind of good rhythm with the 17s last year. Now it was a little easier to take the 18s this year and kind of go along that same path. And the thing I say is like sometimes you've seen it with high school, or sometimes if you get like an older age club team and the players don't have like the technique or the game understanding yet, and you've got to work on that when they're a little too old for that almost, and it can be challenging. Obviously, we still do it, and you can still develop at any age, but now working with these basically babies in terms of club, if 2 3 years they don't have that technique or the game understanding, then that's on me.
Yeah.
And I see that with my 17s. They can trap a ball, they can pass the ball, they can dribble, they've got skills. Obviously, they're not playing at a super high level, connecting 10 passes and doing 1-2s and overlaps, but they've got a basic understanding, and that technical base is there. So, once we do go 9v9, or if, I'm lucky enough to carry that team all the way to 11v11, they've got a much stronger base than some of the other teams in the past I've worked with. So then you can kind of move on to that tactical understanding of the game and know that, okay, I'm asking them to play out of the back and they can actually receive a ball on the back
Mm.
foot. They can actually pass a ball, with accuracy on the ground, which it seems like a basic thing, but sometimes we get 12 to 14-year-olds that don't have that yet, and we got to work on work and work and get that technical base up. But when they start at this young age and when they're with, you grow that, and hopefully, by the time they get to these 11v11 ages, they're gonna be really, really strong players.
Yeah, and I think that's one of our biggest selling points to people to try to join club earlier is that you're hammering these concepts of first touch, ball mastery, your technical skills at a very young age because you're absolutely right. I still to this day get high schoolers that come out and they're, athletes and they're pretty good, but they just can't receive a ball. They don't know how to like dribble into space. They don't know how to like engage in 1v1s. And so, would you say, just in case I ever take a young team, how do you structure your practices? Is it, we work on ball mastery for like, because I've been hearing like, have a ball mastery session, like some kind of technical skill and then work on that all week? Or do you kind of just do one kind of touch on it? Like, what is your methodology kind of with these youngers?
Yeah, so I kind of found well, hopefully good. I think they enjoy it and found a good rhythm. So the biggest thing is that they're having fun and that they're enjoying it because, they're still little, they're still young, and at the end of the day, we do want to get better players, but I want, players that want to keep playing soccer, not that go home like, oh, do I have to go to practice again, tomorrow, or like they enjoy it. So usually for the little ones, they get there and basically we play a game. So you sometimes that's 3v3s, 4v4s straight away, kind of like the play practice play method a little bit that they were doing at US Soccer at some point. Or a game as in, they play tag or they play, sharks and minnows or whatever. So that incorporates a little more, tag with the ball or sharks and minnows, with the ball where they're trying to kick each other's balls out. So that has some technical mastery in there, but basically just get them started right away with some fun. Um, and that really gets them engaged and working hard and focused from the start. Then yeah, we do, different types of things, but at least, 15, 20 minutes of technical, dribbling, whether that's kind of Corver stuff. I try not to do like long lines, but different lines, working on different skills. With the 18s, it's more, pullbacks, inside and outside turns, kind of introducing some soul behinds and scissors and stuff like that. With the 17s, they're now at a level we can introduce a little more, some Cruyff turns, some step overs, some scissors, some combinations. But yeah, still make sure they're, dribbling properly, maybe adding a little passing into that with the 17s. And then with them too, it's a lot of 1v1s, 2v1s, 2v2s, small-sided games because at their age it is a 7v7 game, but it's just a bunch of 1v1s all over the field. Right?
Yeah.
They're still in that kind of me and the ball age where yeah, especially the 17s, they understand how to pass and they understand that they have teammates, but at the end of the day they kind of have that innate selfishness still. They're like, I want to dribble, I want to go, so all right, that's fine, but we got to start beating players. We got to start, using skills and doing it well. That's especially with the 18s. I mean, if they can complete two, three passes, that's pretty incredible for that team. But yeah, so a lot of 1v1s, 2v1s, and then yeah, finish with a game, depending on the numbers, 4v4, 5v5, 6v6, whatever it is. Um, and with the 18s, when we play the game, it's a lot of knowing your position, understanding spacing. They've grown so much since, I took them in January, but still they still get, a little bumblebee sometimes. They still, two people going to the ball, three people going to the ball. So just, harping on that. With the 17s, they understand their positions now. I don't really have to freeze them because they're too crowded. With them, they could work on a little bit more, slightly tactical things, decision making, I have space, I should dribble, I have, defenders, I can pass, stuff like that, crossing, finishing a little more. But yeah, just if you ever do have a younger team, just keep it fun, a lot of ball mastery and a lot of playing because that's how they're gonna learn.
I think the only way is if my wife and I have a baby and then the baby decides that they want to play soccer. But I'm going to leave that up to the future. So okay, so just kind of thinking in broad terms, if you had a magic wand, all three teams, and you can kind of spell anything that you want, what would you give each team?
That is a good question. Magic wand. So, um, I would say I would give the 2018s a little more focus. They're a fun group and they have so much energy, which you want. You don't want a bunch of players that like get to practice, and I talked about it before, that don't want to be there, don't want to like go dribble around the corner, like, oh, I have to run. Like so they've got, and I don't know how the parents do it, they've got so much energy, they're bouncing off the walls. So maybe just slightly more focus for that group. The 17s, I don't know. That's a really hard question. I don't know, maybe finishing with that group, like
Mm,
some better fit. They're doing really well. They're in flight two this year, so it's been challenging. And we are in a flight two north and west bracket, so we've had to go to some tough teams like Beach and Breakers,
mm,
then they got good teams, good players. And they've done really well. We've gotten better throughout the season. Some teams we lost to the first time round, we beat the second time round. But sometimes when we play teams that we are a little better than, and we do, some games we barely, like, our goalies don't touch the ball and they don't cross the half because we're putting so much pressure on the teams, but we just have shot after shot after shot, and it's wide or into the defender or corner and stuff like that. So maybe just a little finishing with that team. And the 2012s, probably similar finishing. That group's, developed a lot, and they sort of are starting to get a style of play where it doesn't always happen. And if you watched them one game, you'd probably think like, what is he talking about? They don't pass the ball, but they try to pass the ball. They try to build out of the back. They've been doing better. I've tried to get a lot of the bad habits out of some players that come from AYSO or United or whoever, not to put blame on any clubs or anything, like, but they have some kickball habits, or just chase and run, and some like good things about that, but getting them to be comfortable on the ball, they've developed a lot. They're starting to combine a little in the final third, see some overlaps, 1-2s. We have really strong wingers and forwards, so we create a lot of chances, but maybe it's a little theme. Maybe I need to work on finishing more, but their finishing is not always the best. We've had games where it's like 20 shots to like four. And I play a little fun game with my assistant coach every time I get to practice, say, all right, we had 20 shots, we had 10 corners, we had 10 free kicks, we had this, the other team had three, guess the score. And it's like 1-1. You're like, how does that make
wow.
sense? Like, so yeah, some finishing with that team, I think. When that group plays, and not an excuse, but that when that group plays on like a turf field or like nice open space, flat ground, I mean, Central Park's great, but those fields have taken a beating over the year, and field 9 and 10 are looking a little rough. We kind of struggle actually on our home field,
Mm,
playing the ball on the ground, taking shots. If you know the field around the 18-yard box, it's like beat up, so the ball's
yeah.
bouncing. So yeah, maybe just finishing with that group if I had a magic wand, but they're doing well, and I mean all the groups are doing well. So yeah, that's an interesting question. That's not something I thought about, but yeah, hopefully that's a good
No, it's
answer.
perfect. I love it. But you are heading kind of the movement here towards making sure that our program has the more players, and you've been the kind of the forefront of kind of recruiting and trying to get some just a little bolster, because when I talked to Sergio, the girls side just kind of got greenlit to have an academy program very similar to like an EA. So now we're looking to kind of start building these teams, the 2017s, the 2018s. That way, when they start coming into fruition and they start playing 9v9, 11v11, we're having competitive teams. Right now, right this second, what's our biggest need? What do we need to come out right now and try out? What do we want to put out there for any age group to come out for girls?
Yeah, I mean, we need players. So, there's many reasons. Over the past few years, we dropped some girls teams, especially, like, for different reasons. Obviously, we lost some really good coaches on the girls' side, and some teams followed, or some players left. So our girls side's looking a little bare. And yeah, I've been working a lot with Sergio. Trying to get coaches out to recruit. I've been doing elite routes. We do that program for, the youngers, like 2019s, 2020s. I've been doing that for girls all ages, just try to get players out, you know, show them our coaching so that hopefully they're interested in trying out. And yeah, we're just looking to build up the teams. I mean, we have an okay younger side like 2018, 2017, 2016. But then, 2015s, we don't have a team. We have a good 2014s, really good 13s, 12s. And then the older side, especially, we're very bare, just the '09 girls on the older side. And like you said earlier, it's kind of me and Coach Eddie, you know, coaching almost all the teams. Romero also has the 2013s. But yeah, we just need players. We're looking to build up teams, start new teams, whatever level. Of course, you need coaches as well to coach those teams. Um, but yeah, just we're trying to go heavy on the recruitment, get out to AYSO games, get out to whatever rec league games we can. Put the word out through social media about our free training programs, like the Elite Roots programs I'm doing. And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about Sergio said that because I didn't know if I was allowed to talk about that. But we do have some exciting news coming for the girls side to sort of match up what we have with the boys side. Obviously, we have EA2. Hopefully, that turns into EA because I know a lot of our EA2 teams are doing really well. But we should have some sort of academy or elite league coming in the next year or two, hopefully next year for the girls side. So, hopefully that'll bring in some players, maybe some teams. But yeah, just looking to stay competitive. Obviously, there's a lot of clubs out here, and it's always that balance. We just trying to not, dog on any clubs. Everybody's doing their best. Everybody's got their own way, but just try to show that, we feel we're doing it the right way. We feel like we're developing players. We have a proven, track record of developing players up to college, good high school players, whatever it is. So yeah, just players. We just need players on the girls side, come out any level and look to start some teams at the age groups that we're missing.
Yeah, and then just a final thought, just to kind of wrap it all up. Any parent that's watching, or any parent that's listening that has a girl, it's really Sergio kind of brought up a good point where whenever he asks anybody for anything, it's commitment. And it's hard to see kind of the light through the trees sometimes. Sometimes when you join a club, like you said with your earlier 2012s, you struggle. But the struggle is what kind of makes teams great, which makes clubs great. And so when you join LASC, join for the long haul because eventually your 2017, 2018 girls are going to turn into some really, really good competitive teams. And you're going to have players come, you're going to have players go. But at the end of the day, if everyone just committed and they stuck with the club and they stuck with the philosophy of the club and they stuck with the coach, you're going to go very, very far. So everybody join LASC for the girls program, but
Yes.
definitely switching gears here from 2017, 2018 players, even 2012 players, and going to kind of like 2007, 2008 girls. You are the varsity head coach at Saugus High School, and our season is coming up here really soon. What's your thoughts coming up here on our high school season?
Yeah, just one last thing on the LASC side,
Oh,
like
sure. Sorry.
like Sergio said, like the commitment, and the biggest thing, like coaches or clubs try to take credit for like the development of players, but the biggest thing is it's the responsibility of the players and the parents. If they want, to go wherever they want to go, they want to play in high school, they want to play college, they want to play pro, whatever it is, they just have to put in the effort. We'll try to, give them the tools, help them along the way, but we can't, like your magic wand question, we can't, get a magic wand and make them into a professional. We just try to provide the best service that we can and almost like stay out of their way. I don't want to, hinder anyone's development, but I see, at the younger age, a lot of parents that are super dedicated, they're doing privates and doing work, going to skills and twice a week, doing extra training, whatever it is. And that's really cool. And I think the biggest thing, like Sergio said, like you said, just commitment. That it is a big commitment, at a young age to go in a club. It's year round. It's two, three times a week. It's weekends. And I wouldn't ever say like, oh, don't play other sports. I think playing other sports is important too, but it is a big commitment to play club. But if you're interested, definitely come on out. We're trying to do it what we feel is the right way and hopefully give you the best service that we can. So yeah, come join the LASC, especially on the girls' side. And then anyway, moving on to the next question. So yeah, Saugus. Pretty crazy. I mean, end of October, Halloween today. It's November already. It feels like we just had tryouts. Feels like we just had our first day of weight room, and we were like, I was telling the girls, hey, it's gonna come super fast, and it has. Like we're already here. We had our first practices this week for varsity, and yeah, I'm super excited. We've got a really strong group. This year is kind of bittersweet for me because it's my fourth year. So this freshman class that joined, the 08s, they're kind of, along with me. I was a freshman joining with them and we've gone on this journey together. Two of those girls, been 4 years on varsity. A
Wow.
good number of those girls, probably five or six, at least 2, 3 years on varsity. So yeah, it's sort of sad to think about the end of the season, but it should be a really fun year. I got a really strong group, some great seniors, some great younger players too, not just to focus on the seniors and we hope we can give it our best shot this year. We've been close, but haven't crossed that line yet.
So, what is your outlook, if you can be so brave to kind of give us what you think is going to be the end result here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like not to make something like a clip that other teams are gonna use, like, oh, they're talking like they're gonna win it. But we go into every year, since I've been here, our aim is to win the league. Obviously, we've been second every year, different reasons for that, but heart is always, really strong. I think this year we're right there with them in terms of talent, of club players, of high level, players that are going on to college. So yeah, our aim is to win the league. I'm not gonna say like, oh, we're the best team, we're gonna blow everybody out. You never know what can happen. There's injuries, there's eligibility, there's different issues that can come up. But our aim is to go, hopefully beat everyone, go win the league and make a far run. That's another goal, of ours. We've done okay like in playoffs in certain games, but ultimately we haven't made it past the first round. We've been Division 1 or 2, so it's we're playing tough teams, but um and we've done our best. We've lost one game, overtime, last minute. Lost another game 3-2, where we were dominated again, couldn't get a tying goal, and we got blown out one year. But we want to do as well as we can in league in terms of hopefully finishing first, but also try to make a run into playoffs because I know you've done it, and that can be almost just as fun, if not more fun than league play if you can make a deep playoff run.
It's definitely a grind. I mean, but once you start winning games and then you win, like if you win, we are fortunate enough to win one game and then you win a second game, you kind of start catching the attention of people. And then all of a sudden the faculty will start coming up to you, hey, good luck this coming up game. And the strangers will just kind of pick your, but so you actually kind of just mentioned there's a couple girls that are going to go on and play college. Is any notable colleges or do you have any big commitments to anywhere as of
Yeah,
right now?
yeah. So we have two sisters, Micaiah Leonard and McKelly Leonard at Saugus. One is a senior, one is a junior, and they are both actually committed to play D1 at Oregon University. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, really, they're studs. I mean, McKay has been 4 years on varsity. She's like got all the records for at least as far as I could look back on Max Preps. So she's a great kid, and they both really cool thing. They both just came back from playing in the U17 World Cup with Samoa. so they got some Samoan heritage. They got
Oh my
recruited
gosh.
last year. Yeah, McKay actually scored in the World Cup. McKelly play, all the games. So yeah, they're two studs that we're just lucky to have at Saugus. So yeah, they're both committed to go play Oregon, which is obviously a really big school, really well known. There's some other players, my goalkeeper that is kind of still exploring around. Francis, she's looking for, a commitment, but she'll be playing at the next level. My assistant coach actually at LASC, Carmen, she's kind of exploring. She's a little late in the game because she didn't know whether she wanted to play or not, but now she's got some offers, so she might play. But only two committed right now, but definitely a handful that, if they want to, can play in college and will have, many offers from wherever. And that's, just the seniors, seniors plus McKelly as a junior. There's some younger players that'll definitely be playing at a high level. But yeah, we're lucky to have such a really strong senior class that'll have a good amount of college players or future college players.
Gotcha, gotcha. Who do you open up with, if you can kind of say it off the top of your head, and when? When is your first Foothill League game?
Yeah, Foothill League game. Obviously, we got some scrimmages. I hate how the high school schedule works with club, but there's nothing we can do to change that. I'm sure you're in the same boat. We got club players playing, Thanksgiving weekend,
Hmm.
and then we start 2 days later on that Tuesday, December 2nd. So that's not really, healthy for the players. But anyway, we start with Castaic,
Ooh.
a home game against Castaic. And then I think it's Canyon or Valencia. But
Oh.
our schedule is kind of weird this year. We come out with four straight home games, or three or four straight home games. And
Wow.
then yeah, and then on the back end have like six away games in a row. So like yeah, I mean, I don't know how they work the schedule, but I know it flips every year. But we have a lot of, a block of home and then a block of away games, which I guess good to start with a home run. Hopefully get a run of game wins going at home. But yeah, it might be a little difficult to keep traveling away, towards the end of the season. But yeah, start off with Castaic, who, really good team. They've been really competitive the last 2 years. Last year, I think they were third place. We tied them both games, so gonna be a difficult one straight out the gate.
Well, best of luck to you on December 2nd. I'll be at West Ranch beating West Ranch, so I'll be thinking about you and when you beat Castig. So as we kind of wrap it up here, I just kind of want to ask, because I asked this to both Jose and Sergio. I'm going to ask it to everybody. All of your teams, your high school teams, Blue Heat, and your LASC teams. What's just one non-negotiable that you demand from every team?
Yeah, I don't know if this is kind of like a cliche or basic answer, but for my teams, all the way from the little ones, up to the adults, there's just effort, hard work.
Hmm.
They're, for the club players, they're putting a lot of commitment in, like we talked about. The parents are spending the money to have them out there. It's the least they can do is go put the effort in, and if they take that responsibility for their development and they want to play, at a higher level in terms of club or at college or whatever it is, then they need to work hard. So that's one thing, with the club teams, especially the 2012s, because they're getting to that age of, middle school, high school. Some girls you see like, oh, are they gonna keep playing? Do they want to keep playing? They get, different attitudes, stuff like that. But I constantly tell them if you girls, next year want to make your high school teams, if you girls want to move on to high level club teams, want to play in college, whatever their, individual goals are, the effort has to be there, and coaches are gonna see it very quickly if you don't work hard. And that's another big thing with high school because you said it earlier when we were talking about COVID, but the high school season's so weird with 2 games a week. When that season gets going, you barely practice. Like it's
Hmm.
basically games. And it can get a little draining, seeing the same coach every day, seeing the same girls every day, 5, 6 days a week, constantly, and I try to differ it up, but we're doing a lot of the same practices, a lot of the same things, and And you could see at different points in the season it drops, but I just try to get on them and just preach, effort, hard work, whatever tactical things we have to work on, whatever formation, whatever we're trying to do, we'll work on it. We'll get better at it. But if we're not working hard in practice, then it doesn't really matter how we set up, how we play, because we're not gonna go out and win a game if the other team's working harder than us.
I 100% agree. There's nothing more just frustrating when you have talented players that just don't want to work hard, or you just have players that just don't want to come out and put in work. And I like the way you put it about how parents are kind of sacrificing not only money, resources, but their time and their energy into this. And if you just don't give it your 100%, it could be kind of very discouraging. But um, and then kind of lastly here, just you've been on the up and up ever since you started this whole journey back in 2017, 2018. So where do you see yourself next year? Where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, so next year, probably, similar to what I'm doing now, coaching three teams at club. We briefly talked about the girl side at our club, but hopefully if we build that up, I can take kind of more of a leadership role at the club would be good. That there's nothing official on that, but I've had some initial discussions with Sergio about, if we do grow our girl side, kind of stepping into a little more of a higher role. So hopefully in the next year or two, just a little more leadership role at the club. With high school, kind of take it year by year. I talked about it before. This is kind of an end of a cycle. I started with this group as freshmen. We both are gonna, graduate out as seniors this year, kind of. So I don't know. I don't plan on leaving Saugus, anytime soon, but you never know what the future holds, especially if I take on a little more role at club, it might be difficult. But yeah, next year probably similar to this year, working three teams, maybe a little more leadership at the club level, but probably coaching high school. Hopefully still, from what I've heard, still coaching at Blue Heat. I don't think me and Luthi got fired. We didn't do the best job last year in terms of making a far run like we have in the past, but we should still be working with them in the summer. So yeah, 1 year down the line, probably a little similar. 3 years down the line, so hopefully, this year pass the B license. 3 years down the line, hopefully working towards that A license, if not
Mhm.
already on the course. I know, the higher the level of license, it's so difficult to get on. The reason I'm taking my B in Arizona is because I couldn't get on any other courses in California. So I know that'll be hard too, but hopefully working towards my A license, if everything works out with our club right now and we do have more elite level teams on the girls side, hopefully working with high level teams on the girls side was something that I want to do. Or, coach, high level, maybe get involved in college is something I want to do towards, down the line. And yeah, probably similar answer for 5 years. Hopefully got the A license by then, coaching high level club, wherever that is. Hopefully, obviously, with the club that I've been with for so long, hopefully a director role by then. And, maybe by then getting involved in college, I think. But just continuing to make, a career out of this, continuing to love it because I still, there's challenging days, but still love what I do. So hopefully just continue coaching and out on the grass every day, which is, for me it's a very rewarding and a much better job than sitting in some office. So hopefully
Yeah.
still out on the grass and enjoying what I do.
Mm. Oh man, that's perfect. Before I wrap it up, is there any kind of final thoughts, shout outs, anything that you want to give anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned some coaches that have had a big impact on me, like Sergio, like Luti, like G. I hope I didn't forget anyone, but there's been so many coaches that I've learned from. Even yourself working with you at high school is really, really fun. I've worked with Seth Groller now at Saugus. Working with him is good. Try to learn things every day. If I missed anyone, I hope I didn't. But a lot of coaches have had a big impact on, the way I coach and how my career has gone so far. So just thank you to all those coaches. Shout out to my wife because I didn't mention her so far. I don't know. I know you just got married too. I'm, still first year into marriage, but dealing with me is not always the easiest after games, after, difficult practices, after 8 hours on the field, and you come home and you just want to like lay down and not do anything. So, yeah, shout out to her for dealing with me all the time. And yeah, hopefully I didn't forget anybody to give a shout out to. Shout out to all my teams, all the players, all the parents that trust me to coach their kids, and yeah, hopefully, like we said earlier, we can keep growing as a club at LASC and just keep getting better as coaches. So thank you.
Of course, of course. I just want to say that you are young, you are ambitious, you are very knowledgeable, you are driven, and LASC is very lucky to have you. Saugus High School is very lucky to have you. Blue Heat is very lucky to have you. As you continue to grow, as you continue to get better, you are going to push any and every organization that you're with to the highest level. And I just want to wish you the best of luck. It's an absolute honor and privilege to work beside you and to be able to have you on. And I was having conversations with Sergio about how he first started, kind of the same thing, assistant coaching. And I see you kind of being one of the top dogs in this valley. If this is where you stick around, wherever you go, you're gonna be a prominent figure. So, absolute pleasure to have you on, man. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you, all of your club teams, your Saugus team coming up, and I can't wait to watch you and see you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. One person that I forgot to mention that I'll mention now
Yeah.
is Carlos, the one who runs Planet Soccer and Blue Heat, for
Mm.
having me on that staff, and he just supports all the local teams, and he's super dedicated to youth soccer and to girls soccer. So shout out to him. But yeah, very kind words from you. Thank you. Hopefully we could continue to work together, continue to grow, the club, and I'll see you out on the field. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir. All right. Have a good one, Kai.
Yep, you too.